Hello, my name is Lori Ingram, and I'm here to share with you today some mindfulness practices that are creative. I know that we all are looking for ways to bring mindfulness into our day, and there are many ways we can do that, meditation being one of them. But as we talk about mindfulness, we talk a lot about being open and present to whatever is arising in the present moment, bringing that curiosity and beginner's mind to what we might be experiencing. And today I'm going to share two practices with you that I use, coloring and neurographic art, that allow me to bring that into my creative pursuits and a little bit of fun. So to begin, I always ground myself, just like we do with every one of our mindfulness sessions. I invite you to take a moment and just leave behind what you were just doing, not anticipate what might be coming next, and to give yourself this opportunity to be present to the moment by connecting with your breath, using the breath as our anchor point, taking this next few moments to just follow our breath, our natural breathing. And before we begin my little demonstration, I also invite you in this practice to bring all of your senses, whether it's touch, hearing, seeing, smelling. All of these senses help us connect with what is arising. So let's begin, and I will share a little bit of coloring with you. Coloring. Coloring has always been one of my most fun things, even from when I was young. And I often go back to coloring as a way to bring myself into the moment. Before I start, I think a lot about all the different senses that we can bring to coloring. Sight, looking at the colors of the pencils I've chosen, and the picture that I've chosen out of this book. Smell. I'm using pencils today, but crayons often have a smell to them. Take a moment and just notice the smell. And just the feeling as well. These pencils that I'm using are very smooth and almost cold to the touch. What does it feel like to be holding this in my hand? And then also sound. If you're very quiet, there is actually a sound that is made when you begin to color. I listen to the sound of the pencil against the paper. I also notice what it feels like. Rough? Is it smooth? Am I pressing hard, or am I just allowing myself to color softly? Can apply different types of pressure. If I change colors and perhaps now I press harder, I actually see that it looks different. It's a very different feeling. It's a very different look as well. And how else can you bring your senses into this? Here I'm doing something a little more freeform. These are all very useful techniques that we can bring to all of our mindful practices. I'm allowing myself to not judge what I'm doing. Putting that inner critic away. So I invite you to try out some coloring. You can print sheets out from online or have a book. Doesn't have to be fancy. Use whatever supplies you have and apply some of your mindful practices to it and let us know what you think. Now I'd like to share with you another practice that I do called Neurographic Art, which is a bit of a doodling practice. And there are lots of doodling practices out there. This one in particular I enjoy and might not be known to you. So I'm going to take a few moments now and just share a bit of that practice with you. Neurographic art is really very simple. You just need a pen and a piece of paper. And what I enjoy about this is it really allows me to be present to allowing whatever comes up. There are no rules really, except to just go with the flow, literally. And to do neurographic art, typically how I start is I literally just start drawing lines, and I allow myself to be really free with those lines. Whatever I may be feeling in the moment will influence my lines. So, for example, right now I'm feeling very relaxed. So I might draw a line from one side to the other that's much like that. And then I just keep drawing lines. Not trying to make anything. Not trying to make it look like anything. Straight lines. Curved lines. I can even add a shape. The next step is what I find particularly helpful from a mindfulness perspective. Is after I've drawn this, the next step of neurographic art is to actually soften the edges. So if you look at some of these places where the lines cross, like here, for example, I go in and I actually just draw these little half moon shapes and color them in. And soften those harsh edges. And when I'm doing this, I apply a lot of those same techniques that I shared with coloring. What does it feel like to be holding this pen in my hand? What is the texture of the paper? This paper is a little rough. I feel the pen against the paper. And as I'm softening these edges, I'm allowing myself to do so without judgment, just enjoying this opportunity to be a bit creative. And as you go through, you just keep adding and adding. And you end up creating something that has a very organic feel to it. And you can just keep adding these edges to it. But also would take it a step further. And here's an opportunity for me to get rid of that inner critic when I look and see that I have done something a little out of line, but that's fine. So I'm going to continue to work on this, and I'll be right back. And now that I've taken a few moments and softened a lot of these edges and really have come up with this very free-flowing organic picture, you can then color it in if you'd like. And often what I'll do is then just draw some shapes or lines or patterns inside the different shapes. Again, always bringing my mindful practices to what I'm doing. What am I feeling right now? How does it feel to have this pencil in my hand? Taking different techniques or maybe pressing harder like this, or softer. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do any of this. There just is an opportunity to be present for whatever might be arising. As I make color, and maybe even press harder. And this is something, when I start one of these, I often go back to it off and on. I may just have it over on the side of my desk, and when I have a break or when I feel like just relaxing for a bit and really resetting myself in a creative practice, I may pick it up and pick it up exactly where I left off. So thank you very much for joining me today and taking this few moments to explore some creative practices. I look forward to hearing from people and what you may have learned, what you may be able to apply to your own practices. And as always, we are here to support your journey in whatever resources we can provide or assistance. So I thank you very much, and may the rest of your day go with ease.